Hello and welcome to day 4. Today is a workout day. It is workout 1B. So I hope you enjoyed your recovery and grow day. I hope you allowed your muscles to repair and feel rested, refreshed, and ready to crush it in the gym today. So as promised, every single workout day, I'm going to take an exercise and dissect it and break it down for you so that you can get the absolute most out of that exercise and see incredible growth and transformation over the next 6 weeks. So before we get any further into the video, let's dive into today's exercise where we are going to be focusing on the chest. Today's exercise, we are going to be covering a staple of chest mass building, and that is the barbell bench press. Now, this is the first time I have flat benched in about 6 months, so I started off fairly on the light side for me and went nowhere near true failure. I just wanted to get a good feel for the weight and a feel for the movement again. But I absolutely love this exercise, and it has been a staple in building up my chest. So let's break it down. The first thing you'll notice is that my shoulders are squeezed back and down, otherwise known as retracting the scapula and depressing the shoulders. This elevates my chest and my rib cage and allows for a better stretch and better contraction while keeping the shoulders and triceps out of the movement more. Another thing you'll notice here is that I'm only going about 3/4 of the way up. This allows me to get a full contraction on the chest with inward intention that I'll explain a little bit later in this video, without allowing the triceps to come into play with a full lockout. This ensures constant tension on the chest. Another thing to pay attention to, as with any of my exercises, I'll go down in slow motion here so you can pay even closer attention, is that I go about twice as slow on the negative portion of the repetition before exploding into a much faster positive portion. This ensures that both the negative portion and positive portion of the movement and my entire muscle fibers are fully exhausted from the lift, as the negative portion of the lift tends to be much stronger. Lastly, pay attention to your stability. My feet and my heels are driven into the floor, acting as stabilizing anchors. My lats are under a contraction from pulling the shoulders back and down to keep everything rock solid and stable. I'm moving in a smooth up and down range of motion, focusing on stretching and contracting. There's no wobbling of the bar, there's no wobbling or shifting of the feet or throwing my hips up off the bench. Everything is locked and loaded and focusing on just contracting the weight up to the top. So I hope you enjoyed that and learned something. We will be circuiting through this trainer through every single different muscle group a couple times, so we will loop back to chest. But in the meantime, if you have any questions further on the bench press or chest workouts in particular, feel free to leave a comment down below, and I would be happy to answer that. Now, we already touched on this a little bit in the demonstration video of the exercise, but there's a couple of key points I want to elaborate further on so that you can truly get the most out of your chest exercises. First off is making sure that you get a proper full contraction on each and every repetition of your chest exercises. So I touched a little bit on this with the demonstration, but what I want you to focus on here is intention. Anytime you are using the barbell press, you're going to use the barbell press with inward intention with your hands. This is a term I learned from Ben Pakulski with MI40 intelligence training and has been key and an amazing tip that has taken my chest growth from meh to really next level. So what do I mean by inward intention with your hands? Well, with the barbell, you're going to be gripping the bar, and the inward intention is basically creating a contraction on your chest. So you're using those muscles rather than the shoulders and the triceps so much. You can do a very simple demonstration to practice this just by taking your hands, pressing them together, and then squeezing. You can see the contraction I'm getting in my chest. As you get more and more advanced, you'll be able to get this contraction with less and less inward intention, getting a full squeeze. With the barbell, you're going to grip the barbell and you're actually going to be shoving your hands inward on the barbell to create that same contraction as if you're pushing your hands together. This is going to shift the tension onto the chest. Now you're going to keep this inward drive the entire time, both on the negative portion and the positive portion on the repetition. I warn you, this is very, very humbling if you have not done this before at the start. You may need to back significantly off on the weight, focus on the proper form with intention, and then build back up your strength with this new proper form. I know I certainly had to, and still to this day, I can bench press much less weight by using the inward intention that I use, but I feel it so much more in my chest, and I have made significantly more progress than when I was using a more powerlifting stance with my bench press and just focusing on getting the weight from A to B. Now, it's also important to make sure that you have your scapula retracted during this exercise with the inward intention. So that basically just means that your shoulders are going to be pulled back and down. This elevates your chest above your shoulders during the actual bench press. If I turn from the side a little bit so you can see, if my shoulders are rounded forward and in line with my chest, whatever area, whatever muscle is closest to the bar is going to be doing the majority of the work. If my shoulders come in front of my chest, my shoulders are going to take over the majority of the load. By keeping my shoulders back and down, my chest is now in front of my shoulders, and with that inward intention is going to be taking the majority of the load. Even at the top of the movement, my chest is still sticking out further than my shoulders, and therefore going to handle a greater portion of the weight. The last thing I want to elaborate on a little bit further with the bench press is the key point of not locking out all the way on each repetition. If your shoulders round forward, your shoulders will want to come into play more than your chest. If you lock out all the way on each repetition, that is when your triceps are at their strongest and are able to take over some of the pressing movement. By avoiding the lockout and only going about 3/4 of the way up with that inward intention, you are much better able to keep tension on the chest and off of the triceps. The barbell is a great place to practice this on because you have an easy surface to grip and practice that inward drive and force, creating the contraction on your chest. As you get better with that mind to muscle connection and with being able to feel a true contraction and stretch in the muscle, then take that inward intention to any of your other exercises for chest. Machine presses, dumbbell presses, anything with that mind to muscle connection now established becomes a much more chest focused exercise and therefore results in much greater chest growth. So try these out today when you're at the gym during your chest exercises, and if you have any questions or concerns, like I said, leave a comment and I will be happy to get to it as soon as I can. In the meantime, I hope you have a fantastic workout day, and I can't wait to see you in tomorrow's video.